Hey folks, we are back here to steer the pot. I was trying to make a rhyme, but you see me already failing. So let's just get this over with. We issued it off with Team Raw in front and center in the middle of the ring, with of course the commissioner. I don't know. They don't issue most of his position. Adam Pearce has issued a reward for Team Raw over probably one of them becoming the number one contender for the WWE Championship later in later in the night. Soon as he wanted to consult everybody why they would be the why they deserve an opportunity in the World Championship. Everybody was generic, back and forth answers. AJ Styles getting cut off most of them, and then it ended up with Braun Strowman getting insulted after saving the best for last. Somehow Braun took that as an offense, and then he ended up headbutting Adam Pearce. So instead of making something comedic, or at least like cutting him off of action, I understand it was just a headbutt, but wouldn't it be better if he slowly got more knocked out or something? You never hear an overreaction from the commentary. That's what pisses me off sometimes. You don't feel them as animated. You don't think them as characters. You think of them as just generic commentators with no semblance of a personality. Jim Ross can take it professional, basic, and he sounds like a sports commentator, but he can feel like, oh, he deserved that. That bastard. He knows the moral points and the professional points, and that would make him such a iconic face on commentary. And you have not even Michael Cole, not Corey Graves that can actually go back and forth with somebody. You have freaking Samoa Joe. I think they still have Byron Saxton on commentary. Tom Phillips. If that isn't just Wonder Bread with pumpernickel and some cardboard, that's the blandest thing you can put in your mouth and make you want to spit it out. That's how bad it is. So, it was issued earlier after the most awkward transitions over to, oh, Adam Pearce, even though he's in a concussion, it looks like he's in a sort of a concussion. He literally has a visible bruise on his head. Having a conversation, probably a couple minutes with Bobby Lashley, and then he had a conversation with Randy Orton, issuing their positions on the card for a title opportunity. So the thing was, there would be 3 matches, and to issue it would be a 3-way dance, and whoever wins the 3-way dance next week gets to face off against Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship. Why the F just have a single knockout tournament? And it makes sense, at least for a dominant performance for Team Raw. They are deserving of some semblance of a reward, and the only positive I can give here on this boring episode of Monday Night Raw is that at least we had some reason, I guess, to watch to see who McIntyre is going to be feuding with, and Alexa Bliss against Nikki Cross, that they finally were going to actually have a match. So I guess that's a positive. Everything else, even though we had the Hurt Business earn their second opportunities for the Raw Tag Team titles against the New Day after failing to win it, literally the last Raw before Survivor Series, and then we issued off with freaking the main event being Randy Orton from AJ Styles facing off to be in the triple threat match next week. It just felt overly bland, and I'm not, and of course I'm in my whining points of, oh my god, Raw used to be way better back in the day. Even in the 2000s, Raw used to be better to digest because you got this, and that, and that's it. It's only 2 hours, and you go to bed after you finish watching. It is 3 hours, and I want to go to bed in the middle of watching, especially when you're doing just match. No cautious story, other than the Firefly Funhouse segment that was pretty okay. Teasing over friendship and not needing Nikki Cross. The only thing I paid attention was the friendship frog and the doll saying, "Who the fuck are you?" That's the only thing I paid attention to. I didn't care, especially with no ongoing story plot. At least everybody's issuing claim for the world championship, and that's what I want. Guys that obviously are ambitious to become top of the card. That's cool with me, but you have nothing else focusing over the mid card. You wouldn't have Angel Garza have a squash match because you can't have that many jobbers on your show because, of course, COVID. And, of course, oh my god, it's just so damn boring. So it would be Sheamus versus Matt Riddle. And, of course, they've been talking trash to each other. Riddle always calling Sheamus Fireface. We had some decent counters, but we've seen these guys wrestle like 100 times. At least this one had at least a reason why they had to wrestle for a title opportunity. But it was just counter, cloverleaf, counter over the knee bar, cloverleaf, then knees to the face, and then knee by Sheamus. A bro kick attempt, but then Matt Riddle literally collapsed. The match ended over with, I think, was it a roll up finish? Whatever. Riddle wins. DQ finish off Bobby Lashley against Keith Lee for the next qualifying match to get to the triple threat. With MVP intervening. And Keith Lee, he powered out of the freaking full Nelson. I think that was okay because the full Nelson was really booked strong as like one of the top finishers Lashley would have over the spear. So it's at least cool enough that we literally just give him Chris Masters finisher. And at least Lashley is in the top of the card, so I don't care. So he comes off screening with MVP running off and leaving Keith Lee to win off DQ after I think clocking him around the face. There was also a backstage segment involving MVP getting talked to by Matt Riddle, and this is really the acting chops of Matt Riddle. Obviously, not learning, how to make a promo off him. Obviously, being the Rob Van Dam 2.0. Like, dude, we should obviously make pizza yogurt, add more protein. We make it a brogurt, and oh my god, it's just so boring. And I understand they want to give him the stoner, chill, UFC dude guy, and it's just so bad when you make him talk more. It's just so bad, wet-haired, glossy weirdo that doesn't even have that much of a likability. I don't mind his matches. He seems to be a really talented dude, but God, they make him be on NXT for a reason. They don't make him talk. If he can't talk, teach him how to talk. Give him more promos. Make it actually a freaking developmental scene other than a reason to actually make these smarks happy. Like I'm just being serious. That's not being mad disrespectful. Just look at the quality of what we're having on Raw after the pay-per-view. And Survivor Series wasn't even that impressive. So the Hurt Business also had their match against the New Day for Raw Tag Team for the Raw Tag Team titles issued in a rematch. And the first part of it ended off countout. There was also another spot after they had to restart the match because they called them cowards. So they came back so they can actually win it so they can finally win it the clean way. Kofi Kingston got launched out by Shelton Benjamin, and he ended on the right knee, and they actually were selling the right knee. Cedric Alexander were targeting the right knee, doing over leg submissions most of the show, so that was decent to see. Trouble in Paradise nearly off a near fall. Lumbar check nearly got the finish. Xavier Woods came with a roll up of a sunset flip. That's the finish. That's the finish of the match. That's technically it, bro. If you want more, ask I don't know. Probably JD goes more in depth in these reviews, dude. It gets really agitating when you have to do 3 hours, and for that, I bless you. I'm still not watching your shit because you're boring. But by God, it gets really mad agitating, especially if you want to do an impromptu rematch. The same thing happened with Lana after having an interview with Charlie Caruso, being like, "I feel so great. Nothing's gonna ruin this moment away from me." And Asuka comes around after Caruso awkwardly asks, "Will you be challenging Asuka for the Raw Women's Champion after becoming the sole survivor?" It's like, wait, hold up. When do you earn title opportunities because you won a Survivor Series match? So It was issued. Asuka came out and just said, "I accept your challenge." She's actually speaking more English, and I don't mind this because I like Asuka more than Shinsuke because she implements her native tongue more issued in comedic pieces and doesn't make her sound more intimidating, but still more unique, and people just like her because she's more attractive and just more funny to hear because all she is just spewing Japanese. And obviously, American viewers wouldn't understand that unless you're a weeb that watches professional wrestling. And if you do, that's fine. So, the match was meh. We weren't having much in the middle of them going collar and elbow before Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler came and then intervened in some of the match. Asuka came out spewing water, then they came assaulting her. The match ends in a DQ. Then they had an impromptu tag team match. So obviously, if there was a live crowd, nobody would care. So now they teamed up after just about to having a title match, and it ended up being a tag team match. It ended up with looks like Lana missed a spear attempt over the commentary table. She hit the commentary table, and then as soon as the Kikina clutch was on from Shayna Baszler was about to hit Lana, Asuka came with a roll up, and that was the finish. Most of the match was just rest hold, and making sure we feel more sympathy points for Lana. That's the only highlight of her ability is that she can probably do the splits. Good for Lana that she at least gets W's, and she did win off countout against Mickie James, so you expect her to get a bit more legitimacy. It's just that I don't care about Lana. Barely has any semblance of an ability. She can't cut promos well. Hopefully she does get better, because God knows she's doing better than her husband. So, that's practically it. Next up was decent, really good acting off Alexa Bliss after the Firefly Funhouse skit. We had, they kept going with Nikki Cross wailing on her, hitting many strikes, just trying to fix her. She already came off just, this is not about Alexa anymore. The Fiend can have her. I'm just doing this, and she was just baiting her in, pretending she's crying, saying she's sorry, then gets her up for the, Sister Abigail in the quickest fashion. So it didn't even look like a Twisted Abigail. She kind of arced it a little bit, but it still was like a quick way to like keep her off guard. So I guess I knew what she was doing. It just looked a bit awkward, but still a decent sell, good manipulation, and just to switch off to switch on for Alexa was pretty impressive. I like that. I like that selling ability. That's what actually makes people, get emotionally invested into a character, and most WWE stars can't do that. And some people rag on people like Alexa probably because she's blonde, attractive, actually has ability, and has crossover ability, like can be in a different medium and still excel in that. Like I swear, wasn't she a bodybuilder before being a pro wrestler or a model, or was that Mandy Rose? Other than that, you know that there's actual potential with Alexa with this stuff. While like Nikki Cross is just the friend of Alexa that she needs like a moral compass for because we can't just have Bray fighting some guy. And I guess that makes sense. While that happened, the main event was Randy Orton versus AJ Styles for the final match to qualify for the triple threat match. And the match was it wasn't as good as their match at Mania. Decent counters to stop AJ with the phenomenal forearm. In some accounts, elevated DDT. We had a decent drop kick. Then the Fiend popped out of nowhere after they were fighting outside. It was going real crazy until, of course, the lights went down when Randy was about to take the advantage. As soon as the lights came back on and Orton's body was turned back around, phenomenal forearm right in the kisser. Pow right in the kisser. Pow right in the kisser. Pow, and it just ended with AJ picking up the victory. So it looks like they're going. Well, this has been foreshadowed for a long time over Bray Wyatt having a personal vendetta with Randy Orton because he did burn down his compound that his dead sister, that he literally dressed up as, was. Other than crappy storylines around, at least there's a reason why Bray wants to feud with Randy Orton now, and thinks he's not the world champion. It's going to be in a personal note that's going to make it more invested, because, of course, I don't think they were going to plan to make Orton the world champion for that long to begin with. So, decent enough ending, but it just felt boring. Like the tag match, boring. The impromptu matches with Asuka, Lana, and then Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax were boring as all hell. Keith Lee and Lashley ended in a DQ finish. We didn't even get more into Strowman. They had these boring segments that had a guy that literally was concussed, nearly concussed, have two negotiations while he's obviously not mentally well, and they don't even want to make it feel episodic. I don't know why WWE doesn't want to do this. I don't know why WWE don't want to make the TV show an actual TV show. And that gets me agitated. I know damn well this is going to be like a low rating. I know this is going to be a low rating. Nothing particularly happened. Not that much. And especially while you had your pay-per-view, that's supposed to be one of the major four, it made it feel more more unimportant. It's ridiculous. Especially when you have, like, restart to a match and you don't even have a title change. You have 3 qualifying matches just to be in a triple threat. And this is as worse as when they did that, like, we have 2 fatal 4-way matches, and if you win those, and if you win those, you face on-one because it's 3 hours, we gotta give the fans something, because wrestling and wrestling and wrestling. And then nothing else. We have no stories. That's just my opinion on the matter. If you feel differently, please comment down in the comment section below, dude. I am just trying to wipe my mind off Raw tonight, because the matches were okay, but some of them were just boring. The only match of the qualifications that ended up clean was not Keith Lee, Sheamus versus Matt Riddle, and the only thing that intrigued me was Alexa and Nikki Cross. Nothing else was that entertaining, in my opinion. It was nice for the little farewell package for The Undertaker, but dude, that was just boring. Raw was just a bore. And if you can't make a 3-hour primetime TV show feel a bore, I'd rather be watching NWA Power right now. So, I'm gonna go do that. That's it coming from the DST show. Thanks for watching. Thanks for taking your time. I'm signing off. But don't worry, I'll get more news going from the NBA and, of course, professional wrestling. I might do a top 10 sucks again, because I did get decent in quotations, feedback on that. And, while disagree or agree, I like to hear you guys' opinions on who I think is a bad wrestler and who's a good wrestler. So, that's it coming from me. Hopefully you guys liked the video.